Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. That is Jack. I'm Conrad. This is the Footy 5, the 2 Sunday matches in an abbreviated Premier League weekend where everybody took the weekend off and some of them played in FA Cup matches and some of them just didn't do anything at all. These two clubs did a lot. I don't know that either club would be super happy with the point. Maybe Arsenal more so than West Ham. But West Ham, 3 goals in the first 32 minutes. Looked really good. Outstanding effort. Lingard had to sit out the last match against the loaning club United. But absolute rocket. And then the smart little free kick for Bowen. And then Mikel Antonio really should have gotten the goal on that one, but it glanced in off of Souček, who then, over the next 32 minutes, West Ham also scored the next 2 goals. Lacazette really was his goal. I don't know if that was going to go wide or not. The analysts seemed to think it was going to go wide. Souček knocks that one in. And then we talk about Craig Dawson being a great addition to this team. Now he's got 2 own goals in 2 weeks in a row. So, Arsenal, I mean, obviously they put the pressure on in the second half. They created those opportunities and then ended up with the equalizer. Saka, at the end of the first half, really did help to turn that thing around. He had those 2 where he came really, really close, and then the Lacazette finish was fantastic. But that breathed some life into Arsenal. But, man, West Ham's got to feel terrible.
If you got to feel bad, yeah. Honestly, especially after that first 32 minutes, because you're chasing down Chelsea. Get those 2 extra points. You're joint with them. You're the only thing behind them in regards to them is goal difference, and 3 goals would be a fantastic get. But the big issue is, I said right before we started recording that, I think right when they scored that first goal, Arsenal did. I think everyone knew that
you get a
they
feeling.
might concede 2 more. Like, you get a feeling. It did not, as you said, it did not inspire confidence. And it's disappointing because it was a really good result. A really good performance, should I say, from West Ham for a good amount of it. 2.14 XG to 1.68 for Arsenal. So Arsenal rarely overperforming their XG, which is good for them because you're able to get these kinds of points, but bad because you, on another day, definitely would have dropped the points here were it not for a very Herculean effort. So I really don't know where I stand on these 2 sides. I think that West Ham will be frustrated because now they've made this a more open race for that 4th place spot. I mean, it goes Chelsea, Spurs, Liverpool, or Chelsea, West Ham, Spurs, Liverpool, all within 5 points of each other. And then Everton right behind them. I should mention them as well with the game in hand, actually. So
literally points.
That's only 5 teams right there that are within 5 points of 4th place. So they could have gotten themselves a bit more distance, but it's going to be a dogfight. Last 9 matches, 10 matches for Everton. So they'll be disappointed. That's the only word you can use to describe it. But last word I'll say for positive for West Ham is Lingard is phenomenal. I mean, his movement is great. He's a really good technical player with the ball, and he's just a good player. He's one of those guys where he's been memed a lot in recent years, but I think unfairly because he's a very good player. And I don't think he has a future at Man United with both Donny van de Beek and Bruno Fernandes occupying that spot, who are just better than him. But, I mean, 20, 30 million pounds, some club definitely should go scoop him up because he's a very good addition.
Like West Ham, perhaps?
Yes, they definitely should.
I think Moyes summed it up pretty well at the end with this quote. We feel as if we have lost 2 points today, but we have come a long way if we are disappointed that we are only drawing against Arsenal. So,
that's true.
Yeah, I think it's a fair summation, but this is not the Arsenal side that, no. you should be fearing. But anyhow, yeah, points lost for Hammers, absolutely. Next up, Villa and Spurs. Spurs did what they needed to do after that shock 3-0 against Dinamo Zagreb in the Europa League in the midweek. Villa did what they've been doing without Jack Grealish. This is their 6th straight match now in the Premier League with no Grealish. They've managed just 3 goals in that period, and they've only conceded 6. So they're not a bad defensive record in those matches, but just 3 shots. They only had 1 on target in this one. They just can't convert. Like, they cannot do anything in that final third at all. Dean Smith doesn't have enough to choose from, really. Spurs, kind of gifted some goals. Emi Martinez comes out for that terrible clearance and then is just running for his life back towards the goal. And he's only got 2 guys in the box, and Spurs have 3 or 4, and it just slots it over, and it's easy for the first goal for Vinicius in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And then the penalty was a terrible play by Cash. Terrible.
Yeah, I think this Villa side, they're not most they're I think a blend between Wolves, where they play right now, and Leeds, where they are pretty defensively sound. They've got a good defensive shape, but they also want to attack you a lot. They want to push numbers forward. They want to be quick in transition. And Grealish is a huge part of that because he's your best player. He's your captain. He's makes an argument week in, week out why he's one of the top 10 players in the Premier League, and that's very rare for a Villa side to have a player like that. So I think that it's obviously going to be a huge loss. So I don't think it's too serious in that regard. You're almost guaranteed survival. So this season, I think, has already been a massive
points.
Success.
Absolutely.
Yeah, even if you come down to the bottom half of the table, still great year. Because I think we had them borderline relegation threatened, and they've shown a lot in themselves. And I think we honestly would have had Sheffield United and Aston Villa inverted several months ago. So they've had a good season, but I think they just got to get a few more points, end on a strong note, make us a last gasp push for Europa League, because you're not terribly far out. You win your match in hand, you're only 2 behind sides in 7th and 8th joint there. For Spurs, though, I think a lot of positives for them. They re-enter the top 4 conversation, which is the last hope for this season besides the Carabao Cup final, which they have in a few weeks, very soon actually. So they need, I think, they needed this. I think it showed. There's a lot of players on that side who know that they're not going to be back in the summer. I hope that they keep Mourinho because they're just better with Mourinho as a manager. What manager is getting more out of this squad than Mourinho is? Yeah, it may be frustrating now, but give him another 2 windows, get a few more players with his fight, his identity. That's a really great note that he was frustrated with the fight that they had in the Europa League match against Zagreb, because it was a European match against a good opposition with a chance for silverware down the line in the competition, and they did not have the fight. Players in the past of Mourinho's have always been fighters. He always tries to have players in the field who can have that passion. He doesn't have that at Spurs right now. It's going to be a big summer. It's going to be a big last 9 matches for them as well, because if you can get top 4, if you can sneak in, then that's a huge deal, because I think you can better chance to keep Kane, Son, and go for one more build up.
Everything's muted.
As you're
getting,
getting,
what's going on?
Yeah, you just have you're so popular that they're gonna get to you no matter what.
I don't understand. Sorry about that. That's a fine, probably. But look at the changes that Mourinho had to make, right? Rodon and Tanganga in defense, and then no Son, no Bale, right? So Vinicius gets his first goal we talked about. Mora's good. Lascelles. So, I mean, just a lot of change for this side. And necessary, obviously. Son, the hamstring, I think. Bale just probably getting rest, but...
Yeah, I'm interested what they do with Bale. Do they bring him back on a permanent deal? I think that would, if it's not too expensive, that would make sense, in addition to several other signings in the defense, in the midfield, in the front line. They need a lot more. I picked Spurs for 3rd last year, or for this season, should I say. And so I'm hoping for my own sake that they make a last gasp run for it. But I also had Liverpool in 2nd, so yeah, that's not going too well.
I had them in 6th, I think, right? Is that where I had them? I don't even remember. Anyhow, Villa.
Yeah, I think you had Spurs.
Yeah, Villa now 10th on 41. Plenty of room, right? They're in no danger of anything. Both these clubs have good upcoming matches. 2 weeks out now, hopefully with a fully fit Jack Grealish. Villa will host Fulham, who are resurgent, right? But they're still a bottom 3 club. Spurs, they are now...
They're chasing down Newcastle.
Yeah, well, and here's the problem for Newcastle is they're facing Spurs next. Spurs now, as you said, jumped to 6th on 48, just 3 behind Chelsea in 4th. And they do travel to St. James's Park, so it does not get much better for Steve Bruce and Newcastle. What's the difference down there? Can that actually flip them down into... So they're at 28, 26. So Fulham managed to pull that off or get a draw, and then while Newcastle lose, they're dropped into relegation territory.
No, a draw isn't enough. A win has to be done by Fulham for it to fully flip this weekend.
Well, they get 27. No, I'm saying if United... Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, they don't...
-1 point.
They don't actually lose points. They just don't get any. Is what would happen. Yeah, and I don't see that happening, but it's getting dicey for Newcastle down there. I don't know. They're just not playing very well at all, and Fulham are playing very, very well. I don't think either of Bromwich Albion or Sheffield United are threats to Newcastle. It's purely down to what Fulham can do. Brighton looked great yesterday. They destroyed Newcastle 3-0. So that'll do it for the weekend. That was kind of the stuff just didn't fit anymore. Only 6 matches. Actually, I think only ended up 5. 2 yesterday or 1 yesterday?
No, there was 4.
4 matches.
There was 4. There's 1 yesterday, one Friday, 2 today.
Well, that'll do it for us. Jack, Conrad, this has been the 45. Please let us know what you think. Comment, subscribe. Please subscribe. Look for us on the Twitter at the 45. Take care now.